The first signal came on an ordinary Tuesday. Dr. Samira Patel was reviewing data from the Deep Space Array when the pattern emerged, subtle, but unmistakable. Not random, not natural. Someone was watching Earth. 6 months later, humanity knew the truth. We weren't alone, and we hadn't been for centuries. 3 vast interstellar civilizations had been observing Earth since our first radio transmissions. The Missouri, a crystalline hive mind spanning 17 star systems. The volucrous, gaseous entities who communicated through electromagnetic pulses. And the terracore, silicon-based beings whose consciousness resided in massive geological formations. Together, they formed the Triad Compact, rulers of 3 neighboring galaxies who had deemed humanity not yet ready for contact. Until now. They'd been watching us like we're animals in a zoo, General Nakamura said, pacing the Situation Room beneath the Pentagon. For over 100 years, Samira studied the holographic display of the massive Missouri vessel that had positioned itself in lunar orbit. Not animals, she corrected. Curiosities. Is there a difference? Asked President Okafor, her expression grim. Animals are managed. Curiosities are observed, Samira explained. They've been studying our development. Our civilization is apparently something of a galactic anomaly. The Triad's message had been polite but condescending. They welcome humanity to the greater community while establishing firm boundaries. Earth could continue its Mars colonization efforts, but ventures beyond the solar system would require Triad approval. Human technology would be evaluated before deployment. Resources in neighboring systems were already claimed. They're treating us like children, Nakamura growled. Primitive children, Samira added, remembering the Volucrous ambassador's dismissive pulse speech when translated. Their propulsion still requires reaction mass. How quaint. 3 days later, Samira stood before the Triad representatives in the hastily constructed reception facility in Nevada. The Missouri crystal structure towered 4 meters high, refracting light in hypnotic patterns. The Volucrous representative swirled within a containment field, its gaseous form shifting between blue and violet. The terracore had sent a smaller fragment of itself, a silicon formation that somehow housed a portion of their consciousness. We have reviewed your technological progress, the Missouri communicated, its crystalline structure vibrating to produce sound. Your quantum theories show promise, but contain fundamental misunderstandings. We've achieved quantum computing, Samira countered, and are close to developing practical quantum entanglement communication. The Volucrous pulsed with what the translator indicated was amusement. Your entanglement theories are rudimentary. You've barely grasped the surface layer of quantum reality. Samira bit back her frustration. As Earth's leading quantum physicist, she'd spent 15 years developing these theories. Perhaps you could share your understanding then. For mutual benefit. That would be premature, the terracore vibrated. Your species requires further development before accessing such knowledge. The meeting continued for hours, each revelation more humiliating than the last. The Triad had mastered faster than light travel millennia ago. They had automated megastructures harvesting energy from stars. They had achieved post-scarcity civilizations while humans still fought over dwindling resources. When Samira returned to her lab at MIT, she locked the door and screamed into her hands. Then she got to work. The breakthrough came 6 months later. Samira had been exploring a theoretical quantum field that the Triad representatives had dismissed as non-productive. But something in their dismissal had seemed too practiced, too quick. She wondered if they were hiding something. They lied, she whispered as her simulation completed its run. The results couldn't be clearer. The quantum dimensional folding effect wasn't impossible. It was simply approached from the wrong perspective. The Triad's quantum technology must use this principle, yet they had deliberately steered humanity away from it. When she presented her findings to the Global Science Council, the room fell silent. If you're correct, Dr. Chen finally said, this would allow us to fold space-time and create localized wormholes. Not just wormholes, Samira corrected. Controlled quantum state transfers. We could move matter between points in space without traversing the distance between. FTL travel without conventional propulsion, General Nakamura said, leaning forward. More than that, Samira replied. A ship using this technology would be effectively undetectable until it materialized. No approach vector, no warning. President Okafor studied the equations. Could we build this? With adequate resources and secrecy, yes. But the Triad monitors all of our technological development now. Nakamura's expression hardened. Then we give them something else to watch. Operation Phantom began the next day. Publicly, Earth continued developing conventional propulsion systems and modest quantum computers, all under Triad supervision. Meanwhile, in hardened facilities beneath the Antarctic ice shelf and deep within the Mariana Trench, Samira led teams working on the quantum dimensional folding drive. 2 years passed. The Triad became increasingly comfortable with their dominance, even as they tightened restrictions. When Earth protested the volucrous harvest of Jupiter's atmospheric gases, they were informed that the resource claim predated human civilization. When the Missouri established a processing facility on Mars that interfered with the human colony, humanity was told to relocate their settlement. They're becoming more aggressive, Nakamura noted during a secure briefing. The TerraCorps have begun preliminary surveys of Earth's crust. They claim it's for cataloging purposes. They're assessing us for exploitation, President Okafor said. How close are we, Dr. Patel? Samira displayed the hologram of the prototype vessel. The QDF drive works in testing. We've successfully transported mass up to 50 metric tons with pinpoint accuracy. The Aurora is nearly complete. The vessel didn't look impressive, a simple cylindrical craft with minimal external features. But inside its hull lay humanity's greatest achievement, a drive system that could fold space itself. When can we demonstrate our capabilities? Nakamura asked. Samira met his gaze. 2 months. But once we reveal this technology, there's no going back. The Triad will know we've been developing in secret. President Okafor stood. Then we need to make our statement unequivocal. As Samira left the meeting, she passed the Triad's observation post. The Missouri representative rotated its crystalline structure toward her. We've been monitoring your conventional propulsion tests, it communicated. Your persistence with such primitive technology is admirable, if inefficient. Samira forced a smile. We work with what we understand. Of course, the Missouri vibrated in what approximated condescension. Your species will advance eventually, with proper guidance. Everyone needs guidance sometimes, Samira replied, thinking of the Aurora waiting silently in its underground hangar, even those who think they know everything. The crystalline structure flickered, the equivalent of dismissive laughter. Samira nodded politely and continued walking, her steps lighter than they had been in months. The Triad believed they knew humanity's capabilities. In 2 months, they would learn how wrong they were. Commander Maya Chen hadn't seen sunlight in 3 weeks. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, the Aurora's construction facility operated in perpetual artificial day, a self-contained world dedicated to a single purpose, building humanity's first quantum dimensional fold-capable vessel. Final calibration complete, Samira announced, emerging from the drive chamber. The QDF drive is fully operational. Maya nodded, studying the readouts. The Aurora wasn't large by conventional standards, minus 120 meters long, crew of 26. But size was irrelevant when the vessel could fold spacetime itself. Weapons systems. The gravitic pulse projectors are online. Chief Engineer Okonkwo confirmed. They'll work exactly as modeled in simulation, when focused on crystalline structures like Missouri ships. They'll shatter, Maya finished, and the electromagnetic disruptors for the Volucris. We'll collapse their containment fields, Okonkwo said. The targeted seismic resonators will destabilize TerraCorps consciousness nodes. Maya stood. Then we're ready for final crew briefing. President Okafor addressed them via secure quantum entanglement communicator. Ironically, using technology the Triad had dismissed as rudimentary. The situation has escalated, she began without preamble. The Terra Corps have established mining operations in the Appalachian Mountains without permission, claiming the silicon deposits as their resource by right of prior claim. The Missouri have restricted our lunar colony's expansion, and the Volucris have begun siphoning our upper atmosphere. Maya felt her crew tense around her. The Triad's encroachment had accelerated beyond even their worst projections. Your mission remains the same, Okafor continued. A demonstration of capability, not an act of war. The Aurora will fold space to the Triad's central command station in the Proxima Centauri system. You will deliver our message in person, then return immediately. And if they respond with hostility? Maya asked. Okafor's expression hardened. Then you are authorized to defend yourselves and demonstrate exactly what the Aurora can do. After the briefing, Maya found Samira staring at the QDF drive's monitoring station. Second thoughts? Maya asked. Samira shook her head. Just thinking about consequences. We're about to change humanity's place in the cosmos, if this works. When it works, Maya corrected. When it works, Samira nodded. The balance of power shifts instantly. The Triad has built their entire defensive doctrine around the assumption that attacks come from detectable vectors through normal space. They've never imagined someone could simply appear inside their defensive perimeter, Maya said. Because they've never encountered humans before. Samira smiled thinly. 12 hours later, the Aurora's systems hummed with power as the crew secured for the first human-made quantum dimensional fold. All stations report ready, Lieutenant Santos announced from Tactical. Maya looked to Samira at the science station. Doctor? Samira nodded. QDF drive at full capacity. Coordinates locked for the Triad command station. Will emerge 50 meters from their main docking ring. Gravitational pulse projectors charge, Santos added. Defensive systems active. Maya took a deep breath. Begin fold countdown. The Aurora's lights dimmed momentarily as power diverted to the QDF drive. Around them, reality itself began to distort, the view screen showing bizarre twisting effects as space-time folded around the vessel. Quantum state transfer initiating, Samira reported, her voice steady despite the historical significance of the moment. 3, 2, 1. The universe compressed to a single point, then expanded again. On the view screen, stars shifted pattern instantly, and looming before them appeared the massive crystalline structure of the Triad command station. Fold complete, Samira announced. Perfect positioning. The station's exterior illumination flickered, the equivalent of a startled response. Within seconds, communication channels blazed with urgent transmissions in Triad languages. They're deploying defensive measures, Santos reported. Open a channel, Maya ordered. When the connection established, she spoke clearly. This is Commander Chen of the Earth vessel Aurora. We request immediate audience with the Triad leadership. After a moment of what must have been shocked confusion, a response came. The vibrating tones of a Missouri commander. Human vessel, how did you reach this location? No Earth ship possesses faster-than-light capability. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Evidently, your information is outdated. We developed the technology independently, despite your efforts to discourage our research. We will board your station in 10 minutes to discuss new terms for human-Triad relations. The Missouri's crystalline tones resonated with what the translator identified as alarm. This station is secured against unauthorized boarding. Any attempt will be considered hostile action. We won't be using your docking ports, Maya replied. And you might want to clear the central chamber. That's where we'll be arriving. She closed the channel and nodded to Samira. Prepare for personnel fold. 6-person team as planned. As the boarding team assembled in the Aurora's fold chamber, Maya addressed her executive officer. Lieutenant Commander Diaz, you have command until our return. If we're not back in 30 minutes, or if the station shows signs of hostile action, I'll demonstrate the Aurora's full capabilities. Diaz nodded grimly. The boarding team, Maya, Samira, 2 security officers, and 2 diplomats, stepped onto the fold platform. They wore no spacesuits, carried no breathing apparatus. Such considerations were irrelevant when moving directly from one pressurized environment to another via quantum fold. Fold in 5 seconds, Samira said, activating the remote trigger. Space twisted, compressed, expanded, and they stood in the Triad Command Station's central chamber, surrounded by startled representatives of all 3 alien civilizations. Messery crystalline structures vibrated in alarm. Voldicrious gaseous forms swirled in agitation. Terracore silicon formations shifted uneasily. Impossible, a Messery leader vibrated. You cannot possess this technology. Yet here we stand, Maya replied calmly. We've come to renegotiate the terms of humanity's relationship with the Triad Compact. A Voldicrious representative pulsed rapidly. Your primitive species cannot dictate terms. Samira stepped forward. You misunderstand. We're not requesting negotiations. We're informing you that the previous restrictions on humanity are no longer recognized or accepted. She activated a small projector, displaying images of 3 other human vessels under construction. The Aurora is our prototype. 3 more ships are nearly complete, each with twice the capability. Within 6 months, we'll have a fleet of 20. Deception. The Terracore vibrated. Your industrial capacity cannot produce such vessels, the same way our theoretical understanding couldn't produce quantum dimensional folding. Maya asked. You've underestimated humanity from the beginning. That ends today. She nodded to the diplomats, who presented a data crystal containing humanity's new terms. Unrestricted exploration rights, cessation of all resource harvesting in the Sol system, and recognition of humanity as equals within galactic society. You have 24 hours to respond, Maya stated. We'll return for your answer. The Messery leader's crystalline structure darkened, a sign of anger or possibly fear. And if we refuse? Maya met the alien's gaze steadily. Then we'll demonstrate what happens when the Aurora's QDF drive is used to place gravitational pulse warheads inside your core world's defensive perimeters. We would prefer peaceful relations, but we will no longer accept subjugation. Before the aliens could respond, Samira activated the return fold. Space twisted, and the team reappeared on the Aurora's platform. Response, Maya asked as they stepped off. Diaz looked up from the command console. They're in chaos. Internal communications indicate emergency sessions of their ruling councils. Defense fleets are being mobilized, but they're clearly unsure where to position them. Because defense is meaningless against a fold-capable vessel, Samira said quietly. Maya nodded. Set a course for Earth. Conventional propulsion, then fold when we're clear of the station. As the Aurora pulled away, Santos spoke up from tactical. Commander, 3 Messery cruisers approaching. Weapons charging. They're testing us, Maya said. Lieutenant, target the lead vessel's propulsion array with minimal gravitational pulse. Let's show them we weren't bluffing. The Aurora's main weapon discharge, an invisible distortion in space-time that concentrated gravitational force on a precise point. The effect on the Messery cruiser was immediate and dramatic. Its crystalline propulsion array shattered, fragments spinning away as the vessel listed helplessly. The other cruisers are standing down, Santos reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from his voice. Fold us home, Maya ordered. As the stars shifted around them and Earth appeared on the view screen, Maya turned to Samira. Do you think they'll agree to our terms? The physicist smiled grimly. They don't have a choice. We've just rendered their entire defensive doctrine obsolete. The question now is whether they'll try something desperate before accepting the new reality. Maya nodded. Either way, humanity's place in the galaxy has changed forever. What neither of them could know was that in emergency sessions across 3 galaxies, the Triad leadership was already coming to the same conclusion. The primitives weren't primitive after all. and the balance of power had just irrevocably shifted. The Triad's answer came not with words but with fire. 3 days after the Aurora's demonstration at Proxima Centauri, the Messeri attacked Earth's lunar colony. The Volucris descended upon Mars, their gaseous forms disrupting the atmospheric processors. The Terracore launched massive silicon constructs toward Earth itself, planet killers designed to burrow into the crust and shatter tectonic plates. "They're afraid," President Okafor said, watching the holographic tactical display in the war room. "This is panic, not strategy." General Nakamura nodded grimly. "Fear makes them dangerous. The Terracore constructs will reach Earth in 17 hours. The Aurora can intercept," Maya said from the quantum entanglement communicator. "But we're still one ship against a 3-galaxy force." Samira stepped forward. "We need to accelerate deployment of the other vessels. The Hyperion is 90% complete." Nakamura confirmed. "The Titan and Odyssey are at 75%. None have completed weapons testing." Okafor studied the display. "How long until the Hyperion can fold?" 12 hours if we rush final calibrations," Samira answered. "Do it," Okafor ordered, "and prepare the Aurora for immediate deployment against the Terracore constructs. We need to buy time." As the meeting concluded, Samira caught Maya's eye through the quantum link. No words were needed. Both women understood the desperate gamble ahead. 6 hours later, the Aurora folded into position near the Terracore constructs. 3 massive silicon vessels, each 5 kilometers long, moved implacably toward Earth. "Gravitational pulse projectors at maximum charge," Santos reported. Maya nodded. "Target the lead construct's forward section. Full power." The Aurora shuddered as it discharged its main weapon. Space distorted between the human vessel and the alien construct, concentrating gravitational forces thousands of times stronger than Earth's pull onto a focused point. The effect was catastrophic. The silicon structure cracked, then shattered along its forward third, but the remaining 2/3 continued onward, its consciousness nodes evidently intact. "Minimal effect," Santos said grimly. "These constructs are orders of magnitude more massive than we anticipated." Maya's mind raced. Recalibrate for multiple sequential pulses. Target the same fracture points repeatedly. As the Aurora engaged the damaged construct, 12 Missouri battlecruisers folded into existence around them. "They've replicated our technology," Samira whispered in horror. "No," Maya corrected, studying the sensor readings. "They've always had it. They just didn't think we could develop it independently." The Missouri opened fire, not with gravitational weapons, but with conventional energy beams. The Aurora's defenses held, barely. "We can't fight them all," Diaz warned. Maya nodded. "We don't need to. We just need to delay them until the Hyperion arrives." She opened a channel. "This is Commander Chen to Missouri forces. Your constructs will not reach Earth. Turn back now." The crystalline response vibrated with what might have been derision. "Your single vessel cannot stop us, human. Your defiance will end today." Maya closed the channel. "Fold us directly between the constructs. Minimum safe distance." The Aurora vanished, reappearing in the midst of the Terracore formation. The Missouri cruisers immediately adjusted course, but their weapons couldn't target the human ship without risking the constructs. "Clever," Samira acknowledged. "But we're still outgunned. We're not trying to win," Maya reminded her. "Just delay." For 2 hours, the Aurora played a deadly game of hide-and-seek among the Terracore constructs, using precisely calculated gravitational pulses to slow their advance while avoiding the Missouri cruisers. The human vessel took damage. A crystalline missile breached the outer hull, emergency force fields barely containing the atmosphere loss. "Hull integrity at 64%, Santos reported. "Weapons capacity at 51%. QDF drive still operational but showing strain." Maya grimaced. "How long until the constructs reach Earth?" "At current speed, 8 hours," Samira answered. "We've bought some time. but not enough. Then the quantum communicator activated. General Nakamura's voice came through, tense but controlled. "Aurora, be advised. Hyperion is launching now. Hold position for coordinated attack." Maya exchanged glances with her bridge crew. "Acknowledged. Aurora will continue harassment operations." As if sensing humanity's desperation, the Missouri intensified their attacks. 2 cruisers managed to score direct hits on the Aurora's port section. "Hull breach, decks 4 through 6, Santos called out. "Emergency containment holding. QDF drive efficiency down to 78%. "Can we still fold?" Maya demanded. Samira checked the systems. "Yes, but precision is compromised. We can't guarantee exact positioning." "We don't need precision anymore," Maya said grimly. "Just proximity." She opened a channel to all human forces. "This is Chen. Aurora is severely damaged but operational. We're executing Operation Sunburst now." Nakamura's voice came back immediately. "Negative, Aurora. Wait for Hyperion's arrival." "There's no time," Maya replied. "The constructs will reach optimal deployment range in under 7 hours. We need to act now." After a moment's silence, President Okafor's voice came through the quantum link. "Understood, Commander. Proceed with Sunburst. Godspeed." Maya turned to her crew. "You all know what Sunburst means. The Aurora will fold directly into the lead TerraCore construct. The QDF drive's energy release upon impact will trigger a cascading quantum reaction." Santos swallowed hard. "The explosive yield will be equivalent to a small supernova," Samira finished quietly, "destroying the Aurora, all 3 constructs, and likely the Missouri fleet. I'm ordering all non-essential personnel to the escape pods." Maya continued. "Lieutenant Santos, plot a fold trajectory directly into the primary consciousness node of the lead construct." "Aye, Commander," Santos replied, his voice steady despite the death sentence he'd just acknowledged. Diaz stood. "I'll oversee evacuation." Maya nodded. "You have 10 minutes." As crew members rushed to the escape pods, Samira worked furiously at her console, making calculations. "Maya," she said urgently, "I can modify the QDF drive to operate on remote detonation. We can all evacuate." Maya studied the scientist's face. "How reliable would the detonation be?" Samira hesitated. 90%. Maybe. "And if it fails, Earth dies." Maya shook her head. "I need certainty, not probability." "Commander," Santos called from Tactical, "Hyperion has just folded into the system. They're engaging the Missouri fleet." On the view screen, a sleek vessel similar to the Aurora, but 30% larger appeared, its weapons immediately targeting the Missouri cruisers. The crystalline vessels scattered, clearly surprised by the second human ship's arrival. "This changes things," Maya said. "New plan. We proceed with Sunburst, but Hyperion can recover our escape pods first." She opened a channel to the Hyperion. "Captain Ramirez, we're executing Sunburst in 8 minutes. Request recovery of Aurora escape pods at coordinates being transmitted now." "Understood, Aurora," came the reply. "Recovery operations commencing. We've brought something that might help." The view screen shifted to show a massive device deployed from Hyperion's cargo bay. A quantum resonance amplifier, designed to magnify the Aurora's QDF explosion. "That's the prototype from Antarctic base," Samira breathed. "It wasn't supposed to be operational for months." "We accelerated development," Ramirez replied. "Deploy your pods. We'll handle the rest." 7 minutes later, the Aurora's command crew, reduced to Maya, Samira, and Santos, made final preparations. The escape pods had launched, carrying the rest of the crew toward the waiting Hyperion. QDF drive modified for maximum energy release upon impact, Samira reported. "I've locked out all safety protocols. Course plotted directly into the construct's primary consciousness node." Santos added, "Fold will initiate in 60 seconds." Maya opened a final channel to Earth. Aurora to command. Sunburst commencing. It's been an honor. President Okafor's voice came through clearly. The honor is ours, Commander. Humanity will remember. As the countdown reached 10 seconds, Samara suddenly looked up from her console. Wait. The Hyperion's quantum resonance amplifier. If we modify our fold parameters, we could create a cascading quantum effect without sacrificing the Aurora. Explain, Maya demanded. A partial fold, Samara said rapidly, fingers flying over controls. We fold 90% of the way into the construct, then reverse. The energy discharge would be directed into the construct while we fold back out. Can you implement in? Maya checked the countdown. 8 seconds. Already done, Samara said. But we'll need to be farther from the blast than the escape pods are. We'd have to leave them. Maya's jaw tightened. No, we stick with the original plan. Commander, Santos interrupted. Incoming transmission from the Triad command frequency. Ignore it, Maya ordered. 5 seconds to fold. They're broadcasting surrender, Santos said incredulously. Full, unconditional surrender of all Triad forces. Maya froze. Verify. Confirmed, Santos replied. The Missouri fleet is powering down weapons. The Terracore constructs have stopped advancing. They're requesting terms. For a moment, the Aurora's bridge was silent. Then Samara laughed. A short, disbelieving sound. They blinked. Maya canceled the fold sequence and opened a channel. This is Commander Chen of the Earth vessel Aurora. We acknowledge your surrender. All Triad forces will withdraw immediately from the Sol system. Further terms will be negotiated by Earth's diplomatic courts. The Missouri commander's crystalline vibrations translated as both reluctant and respectful. Acknowledged, Commander. We underestimated your species. As the Terracore constructs began a ponderous turn away from Earth and the Missouri fleet stood down, Maya slumped in her command chair. I need damage and casualty reports, she ordered, and recall our escape pods. Hours later, as the Aurora limped back toward Earth under conventional propulsion, Maya found Samira in the damaged drive chamber, already making repairs. The Hyperion is escorting us home, Maya said. Nakamura reports the Titan and Odyssey will be operational within days. The Triad representatives are already on Earth, negotiating a permanent peace treaty. Samira nodded, not looking up from her work. They're afraid now. They've seen what one human ship could do. They should be, Maya agreed. But fear isn't the foundation we want for the future. Samira finally met her gaze. What do you mean? I've been thinking about what happens next, Maya explained. The Triad has technology we need. Knowledge about threats beyond their territories that we should know about. And despite everything, they've maintained peace between 3 galaxies for millennia. You're suggesting cooperation. After they tried to destroy Earth. Maya shrugged. Not cooperation. Integration. Humanity has proven we belong among the stars. Now we need to prove we deserve to be there. 3 weeks later, the Aurora and its 3 sister ships stood in formation above Earth as representatives from 3 galaxies signed the Galactic Concordat. The treaty not only recognized humanity's sovereign rights, but established a new interstellar council where Earth held equal standing with the former Triad powers. As the ceremony concluded, the Missouri ambassador approached Samira. Your quantum dimensional folding technology is remarkable, it vibrated. Different from our approach, yet equally effective. Perhaps there are other areas where humans might contribute unique perspectives. Samira smiled. That's what humans do best, Ambassador. We see problems differently. Where you saw limitations, we found possibilities. And where we saw primitives, the crystalline being acknowledged, we should have seen equals. Above them, the stars beckoned, no longer forbidden, no longer out of reach. Humanity had claimed its place in the cosmos, not through dominance, but through ingenuity and determination. The three galaxies that had once laughed at humanity now watched with newfound respect as Earth's ships prepared to venture into the unknown. And this time, they weren't watching a curiosity. They were watching an equal. The reckoning had come, not with destruction, but with recognition. Humanity had been underestimated for the last time.